Oh my god, I just saw Spencer for the second time. Kristen Stewart is the actress to beat. I thought it was Jessica Chastain for the eyes of Tammy Faye, but no. At this point, it's Kristen Stewart. She did an amazing job. And also, this movie's a lock for best cinematography. It looks great. Her performance was also, like I said, amazing. You know, an American actor doing a British accent or any accent at all, that's never failed, but I think she did a really good job. And, you know, Kristen Stewart, very attractive. Diana was very attractive, and I think they did a really good job with the makeup. They kind of look the same. You can see a similarity there. I didn't know she had this in her. I'm not going to lie, because all I know her for is the Twilight movies. And other than that, I didn't watch Charlie's Angels, because who did? The only movie of hers I'd actually seen was Adventureland. I thought she was really good in that one too. I only checked it out because I had seen promos for it on my DVD of Superbad. Just to compliment her performance again. So she's able to capture like the pain and the stress that she's under, and the pain that it's caused her, and the toll that everything has taken on her, the toll of the press combined with the toll and the pressure from the royal family and tradition and the rituals and the rules and the regulations. And on top of that, her family drama with Charles just cheating on her with Camilla, and Camilla always being around at every big event. And you can just see the toll that it's taking on her. And she, to the point where now she's not only battling the culture of the royals, but she's also battling herself in her own mind. And you can see that manifest both physically with her bulimia and the scenes where she's in the bathroom making herself throw up, and mentally with some scenes through her point of view, which gets kind of, no, I'm not going to say scary. It's not scary. It's just like, damn, that sucks. But anyway, to the movie. So it opens up where Diana comes late to Sandringham House because they're there for Christmas. It's 1991, and this picks up where The Crown left off. Because I went on a whole binge rabbit hole of the royal family last year. I binged The Crown. I binged some documentaries. And she shows up late, and the new butler is very by the book, and he's going to follow all the traditions. And you can just see the rigid, traditionalistic culture of this place right away from the beginning of the movie, because the first shot, it's when they're bringing the food in. So first some soldiers come in, make sure everything's clear. Then they all walk up sets of stairs in 3 single file lines, and right next to them in comes the head chef with a book that I'm gonna assume is like 500 years old, and all his cooks behind him. And you just see that they have to follow the same recipe, and the royal family eats the same food, does the same thing at the same time with the same set of clothes. They go to the same mass. They just do the exact same thing every year for the past like 600 years. One of the things that causes her to stress out right away when this butler, who's very by the book and he's going to do everything that he's supposed to, insists on weighing her. And at this point, Diana's struggling with bulimia. I don't know everything about bulimia, but I know that it's something that causes them to never be satisfied with the way they look, and they always want to lose more weight and look thinner. So they weigh her, and he also comments on the tradition being that they have to gain 3 pounds by the end of the holiday to show that they had fun. And that's also something that troubles her because, you know, she's bulimic. Gaining weight is not something people with bulimia or anorexia want to do. They want to just lose weight. Right after she talks to William and Harry, when they comment about them being cold, she tells them she says that every year, but they just never listen to her. And they always just bring up blankets instead of just turning the thermostat up. And right after this, she goes to the bathroom, throws up, and you can see the stress both in her face and in her body with how frantically she's washing her hands. And afterwards, all her dresses are there, and the maid, who's become one of her friends because she requested to be with Diana, and she says that she just needs to survive these next 3 days. You can see just the pressure on her when she's talking to the maid. She talks about Anne Boleyn because she finds a book about Anne Boleyn in her room, which you find out at the end of the movie was left by the head butler. And circumstances kind of align with Diana's, because Henry VIII married Anne Boleyn, but then had an affair and wanted the other girl to be queen and cut her head off. Kind of a more extreme version of what was going on with Diana. Like, Charles married her only because she was the one his family said was good enough to marry to be future queen, but he really loved Camilla, so he married Diana, but he still maintained an affair with Camilla the whole time. Anyway, she tells her to not make it easier for them and don't show them that she's starting to crack under the pressure. So she talks to the boys one more time, and Kristen Stewart has some pretty good chemistry with the child actors, and they talk about, and they kind of show how the royal family is kind of indoctrinating them into the royal mindset early on. She waits until everyone's done opening presents. Then she goes into the room and you see the wrapping paper everywhere, and she gets the pearls that Charles bought her, and she puts them on. She says, "How do I look?" to the maids cleaning up, and they say, "You look beautiful, Mum." She says, "If I gave them to you, would you take them?" She's talking to the opposite maid. There's two maids in the room. She talks to one, the opposite chimes in. She wouldn't, Mum. She couldn't. She's not allowed to. And she says, "Well, he bought us both the same thing." Diana says, "I thought they looked beautiful too, until I saw a picture, and she was wearing the same necklace. He bought us both the same thing, and he didn't even notice, without even thinking about it." And that's one of the first times you really see the toll and the effect that this whole part of her life's had on her, this whole ordeal. And that night, she tries to escape and leave, but then two cops catch her, and she just convinces them to not report anything. And little side note, the first time she's caught outside by the security police officers, it's not when she goes back that she puts on the pearls. This first time actually leads to the most touching scene of the film, in which she goes into Harry and William's bedroom, says that she tried to escape, but she was caught, and they play a game, which is their version of To Tell the Truth, and they format it where first Diana's a sergeant, and she's commanding William and Harry to tell her what the best part of Christmas was, and they have to tell the truth. So when they say, seeing everyone, seeing the whole family, she says, "No, I said you must tell me the truth." And you can really see the, like I said, this is the most the most touching moment of the scene of the film. You can really see the bond between like mother and child that is really what this story is consisting of, also on top of the drama going on in Diana's life. And especially when William asks her, "Mummy, what's made you so sad?" She says, "Oh, nothing." And she says, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Mummy, you were supposed to tell the truth." And then you see the look on her face as she says, "The past and life in general." After this, she goes back to her room, puts on the pearls, and they're eating dinner. This is one of the scenes where you just feel the pressure. You feel the tension and the pressure in the room, where the queen is staring at her and the head butler is staring at her, and you see her tear off the pearls that fall into the soup and eat the pearls in the soup, and you hear the crunch and the grinding, and she swallows the pearls. Then she goes to the bathroom right away, throws up, washes her hands, and as she looks in the mirror, you're snapped back to reality, and you see that was all in her head. And it wasn't scary. The scenes like that aren't scary. They're just troubling. Like, you kind of see the state she's in, and it's sad, man. It's sad. After this, on Christmas Day, she dresses up for Christmas breakfast because the night before was the whole Pearl incident and being caught by the cops. And later that night, she actually storms the pantry and starts shoveling stuff into her mouth. And then the head butler catches her and talks about how he got reports that she's feeling stressed out and concerned, how she's not feeling well and everything. And she said that, I don't know how you heard that. And he says, I hear everything, Mom. And she says, well, I guess you can't say anything. And when you think about it, they really can't, because anything they say, the servants will hear. The servants talk to each other. They tell the head butler. Butler tells the queen. And the queen tells the rest of the family what that person said. So in a way, you can't really keep anything from anybody, which is kind of messed up, but whatever. So, and they address that. The butler addresses that. No, the chef addresses that at the end of the movie when he says everything that's said here turns into currency. And anyway, that breakfast, Christmas morning, they're talking about the 500-year-old breakfast that they're eating. Not the food, but you know what I'm talking about, the tradition. Diana asks Charles how she looks, and Charles says fine. And he says, there is one thing, though. And he gives her a little speech about how the bees worked so hard to make the honey, and the cows and the chickens worked so hard to lay eggs and make the milk to make the food. So you could at least pay them the courtesy of eating it instead of regurgitating it in the toiletry bowl. So and it was kind of a dick move. It was a dick move, and that wasn't cool. And then she wears apparently the wrong outfit to their annual church visit for morning worship, as the butler says. There's a ton of photographers there, and then when she's talking to young Harry, she sees Camilla, and you just see it. Oh, you see the anger and the pain in her face. And of course there's 100 photographers there, and then on the TV the servants say, she's wearing the wrong dress. Should we tell them? They'll think we dressed it wrong. And then the head butler says, no, don't worry about that. They know it wasn't our mistake. That night, Christmas night, she goes back to her, instead of going to dinner, she has another episode, and another scene that's in her head, you see how she sees her friend, hugs her, but then bam, right away she changes into someone else, because she sees her just as another face there, and another mouth for the queen to listen to. And so she leaves, goes to her old childhood house that's all boarded up. Right before this, you actually get a scene where she's talking to Charles about how William told her he's not ready to shoot guns, and that she didn't want him to be shooting guns. And they have a whole conversation about that. It's kind of like a mother-father argument, about the kids and everything. But then Charles is only concerned about her wearing the wrong clothes. You wore the wrong clothes. And he says something that's very, very messed up. He says where he has the audacity to say that, to ask if she was being distracted by someone, and that gets the same reaction by Diana, and she says, you've been distracted by someone many times, actually. Many times you've been distracted by someone. You've been delayed by someone. And he says something that's very interesting. He says, Diana, there needs to be two of you. Just like there's two of me, just like there's two of mother and father and every one of us. There's the real you. Then there's the you that you let them take pictures of, which kind of shows just how they just want to keep up this image to the public and give this perfect image to the public no matter what. Something the Crown dives into deeper, but this is just about Diana. But then on Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas, apparently, I don't get that, but whatever. So Christmas night, she decides to go to her childhood home, and she goes up the stairs. you kind of see some trauma hitting her with the combination of what's going on with her now. She just starts to cry, and she's about to jump off the old stairs that have shown to be very brittle and kill herself. But then she sees Anne Boleyn come tell her that she saw Henry VIII's mistress with the same tiny painting of him that he gave her, and that she needs to just rip it off, this like attachment to Camilla with the pearl necklace that symbolizes her and Charles' betrayal and the pain that he's caused her and everything. She just rips it off, and that's one of the first moments you see where she's kind of done with this bullshit. And that morning, she puts on some regular clothes. She talks to her maid, and there's a funny moment that adds some laughs, a small laugh to the seriousness of the movie, where the maid comes out as a lesbian and says that she loves Diana, like love loves, and they both laugh, they both giggle about it. But then she says, "Screw doctors, what you need is love, shock and laughs, and lots of it." And there's one more in the last few scenes. She tells the maid to go park her Porsche out front, leave the keys in the glove box, and she's gonna get out, go take her place with the pheasants. And the maid thinks this is suicide, but you realize what she's actually doing is she's going to the pheasant, I say hunt with quotes because it's not really a hunt, like it's all staged for them to look like they're quote unquote hunting, but it's not really hunting. So she goes out to in front of everybody, in front of everybody's guns. They hold their fire, and she says that she's not moving until William and Harry come with her. And so the boys come with her. They go run to the house. They ask, "Where are we going?" She says, "We're going home." And they leave, and they're driving off to a song that's very thematic, where it says like, "All I need is a miracle," and like you never know what you got till it's gone. And then with the music, you see Charles having the family having a conference with Charles on how he needs to get Diana. Assumingly, he needs to get Diana in line, and she takes the boys to, of all places, KFC, because she said earlier she loves fast food. And she also talks. In that same scene, she talked about how she's like not really into all this like regal fancy shit. She prefers like regular stuff. She wouldn't mind having a regular life, just with like regular shit, regular clothes and everything. In the last shot, you see how she's physically left the family, but she's also, in the last shot, you see she's mentally made the decision to leave them behind, like physically and mentally and emotionally move on with her life, and she's done with this bullshit. But 10 out of 10 movie, great, amazing, go see it. It's awesome. Kristen Stewart's awesome in it.